Spain by Chick Corea is one of the most iconic jazz compositions of all time. Everyone loves this tune, but not everyone knows how to play this tune. So let's start with level 1. This etude is really just the arpeggios. The main key center is B minor, so 2 sharps in the key signature. G is the 6 in B minor, F sharp the 5, E is the 4, A the 7, D the 3, G again the 6, C sharp is the 2 and it's a secondary dominant, so the 5-7 of 5. F sharp again the 5, and then finally we get to the B, which is the 1 chord. Then the B7 chord at the end is another secondary dominant. Once you have learned this etude, some really easy ways to improvise and create variations with it include playing the arpeggios and inversions up and down the whole instrument, changing directions at unpredictable times, using double strokes like right-right-left or left-left-right for rhythmic variety, or simply changing octaves. Here's one chorus of solo using all of those ideas on this etude. Okay, now level 2. We've learned the chord tones, so now it's time to fill in the space between those chord tones. I want to explain one very important concept. As a general rule, I prefer to start by using as many notes from the main key of B minor as possible to fill in between the chord tones. This is pretty easy to understand when we are talking about the diatonic chords, but some people find it confusing when we get to the F sharp 7, the C sharp 7, and the B7 chords. Let's start with the G major 7. I'm going to play B minor starting on G. For the next chord, F sharp 7, I'm going to play B minor starting on F sharp, but the catch is that we need to have an A sharp to get the proper third of that dominant 7th chord. So now I'm actually playing B harmonic minor starting on F sharp. I call this the Mixolydian flat 9, flat 13 scale, but you can also just call it B harmonic minor. Moving along, the E minor, well, again, this is just a B minor scale starting on E, which gives us E Dorian. The A7, B minor starting on A, which gives us A Mixolydian. D major, that's the relative major. And then again, G Lydian. Now we are possibly at the most confusing of all the chords, the C sharp 7. So we need a C sharp. Technically, the third of this chord is called E sharp. We need a G sharp, and we need a B on the top. However, the rest of the notes in between I will use from the B minor scale. So that leaves us with C sharp, D, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, and C sharp again. Again, that's the Mixolydian flat 9, flat 13. After that, we have the F sharp 7 again, so we'll do the same thing we did before, B harmonic minor. And thank goodness, we have now finally arrived home to B minor, good old B minor. For the last chord, the B7, actually there's only one note we need to change to give us that proper chord sound, and it's the D moving to D sharp. So the rest of the scale can actually remain as B minor. This results in an interesting scale that some people call melodic major. Basically, the first 5 notes are from the major scale and the top 4 notes are from the minor scale. So all that theory was fun, but here's what the etude actually sounds like. Try to really listen for the unique sounds of these different scales. So now I'm going to play some improv and use these scales as a means to get from one chord tone to the next. Okay, now we move on to level 3. For level 3, we're actually going to simplify all of those dominant chords with Mixolydian. No more flat 9, flat 13, no more harmonic minor, melodic major, none of that stuff. Many folks find normal Mixolydian easier to play, so this etude will give you a chance to do that. Just understand, however, that it's really not how the harmony works naturally, it's just an arbitrary decision to say, I'm going to play Mixolydian sound on these dominant chords. And that's fine. Listen carefully for the difference between the two, though. Those first 3 levels is more than enough to work on for quite a while, but if you find yourself getting bored and you want a different approach, well, you have come to the right place with level 4. For this, you need to keep track of 2 things: a guide tone melody and the filler that goes in between. There are really many ways you could practice this, but what I've done is written a simple guide tone line. In between those guide tones, I've given myself a palette of only 3 or 4 notes with which I can improvise. So you need to really memorize both parts. Here's what it sounds like the way that I wrote it. So now I'm going to play it again, but I will improvise only with those 3 or 4 notes. I will do my best to keep the guide tone melody in place. Level 5 is all about shapes. I love shapes. I think in shapes, I'm a visual learner, and visualizing shapes on the vibraphone will open up many doors for improvisation. So what I've done here is just thrown a bunch of them onto the instrument. On the G major, I like to use these little stepwise shapes, starting from G, then D, then A. This results in a nice G Lydian phrase that you can easily move around the keyboard. On the F-sharp 7, I used 3 different shapes, which when combined pretty much outline an F-sharp 7 chord with a sharp 9 and a flat 9. First, this little diminished shape goes like this. Secondly, a very simple F-sharp triad with no 7th. Then an A7 shape in first inversion. The A is the sharp 9, the G is the flat 9. It's a cool shape, it's a cool sound, and if you mix and match them randomly, it sounds really cool. Now for the E minor, I didn't really do anything special. Just go ahead and play some E Dorian stuff, whatever. But on the A7 chord, I figured, what the heck, let's just go crazy here and do something really weird and play a G minor with a major 7th shape, like this. This actually results in what's called an A13 flat 9 sus. So if you play a G minor with a major 7 shape, and you put an A under it, this becomes the 7th, the flat 9, that's the 4th, which makes it a sus, and this is the 13th. So putting this on top of an A dominant chord gives it a completely different quality. Instead of having, this, you have this. Moving along on D major, I like to play an F sharp minor 7 shape, which gives you a D major 9. Then we get to G Lydian again, so you can play the same phrase that we did at the beginning. Then we get to the C sharp 7, and this is another completely arbitrary shape, but I love to use a B diminished major 7th shape here, which results in a C sharp 13 flat 9. Diminished, by the way, is this, and diminished with a major 7th is this. Right, so it almost looks like a B flat major just with a B natural. But if you do that over a C sharp, suddenly you have this C sharp, that's the root, that's the 9th, flat 9, 3rd, and the 13th, and it's just a wild sound, which I think sounds really cool here, and you'll hear Chick use it in his own playing of this song as well. Not always on the C sharp, sometimes he does that on the F sharp, but it's just a great shape, and when you're thinking in shapes, this is one that can work very well. So, on the last F sharp 7, I played this riff, and I'm pretty sure I ripped it off from Gary Burton, so you should too. It sounds like this. So then we can kind of breathe again. So you can just play some straight up B minor triads combined with F sharp minor 7 chords, which always sounds nice in any combination, really. So on the last chord, I used a G major 7 sharp 5 voicing for fun, like this. When you play that on a B7 chord, then this is the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the flat 6. These are a lot of wild shapes, and it can kind of be brain busting to remember them and actually figure out how they relate to the chord. So check out what it sounds like when it's all put into context. Do you have any questions? Put them down in the comments. Let me know which part of this you found the most helpful to you. And thank you for watching, and I will see you soon in the next video.